We are still seeing encouraging indications in relation to community transmission, and that is because everyone is continuing to play their part and protect each other. The guidance we have been asked to follow has not been easy for anyone. Therefore, it's good to see that people are taking time to prioritise not only their physical health, but their mental well-being, which is vital in these unprecedented and difficult circumstances. A study conducted in recent weeks shows that 76% of people are actively taking steps to look after their well-being. And it's important that we applaud those efforts and encourage each other to keep it up. In these difficult times, we can help each other to stay motivated and positive, and remember that we're all in this together. The study also showed that people are confident that they know where to go to find more information on looking after their well-being, but they're less certain of where they might find helpful information around other areas such as stress management and information for parents. So I just want to remind everybody that there are helpful resources around all of these issues available on gov.ie/together. Temporary Wage Subsidy Scheme. Over 57,200 employers are now registered with Revenue for the Temporary Wage Subsidy Scheme. Over 495,100 employees have now received at least one payment under the scheme. This does not include additional employees who may receive a subsidy as a result of payments generated this week. Today, Revenue has generated further payments to employers under the scheme of £62.5 million. These payments will be in the bank accounts of the majority of the respective employers tomorrow. The cumulative value of payments made to employers under this scheme is £1.24 billion. On Tuesday, people who were unemployed last week received their weekly payment of $350 under the Covid-19 Pandemic Unemployment Payment Scheme. Some of these received their last payment because they had returned to work on or after the 18th of May as part of the first phase of the roadmap for reopening society and business. Since then, a number of social media tweets have been posted by people who have returned to work asking if they should have received this payment. In this case, they are entitled to the payment because the payment of the pandemic unemployment is made in arrears. So on Tuesday last, payment was due for the period 15th to the 21st of May. And if you were unemployed for all or part of that week, you are entitled to the payment. If you have any queries at all in relation to the payment, you can contact the Department of Employment Affairs and Social Protection on 1890 800 024, and information is also available on gov.ie. EU driving and resting times. I wanted to flag that the temporary relaxation from certain provisions of EU driving and resting times rules introduced to the exceptional requirements of Covid-19 are due to expire on the 31st of May. From the 1st of June, operators and drivers must comply with the normal rules applicable to driving and resting times for drivers of commercial vehicles. Contact with road haulage representatives will be maintained, and ongoing developments relating to any further exceptional measures that may be required will be monitored. Community fora. The community call fora run by local authorities continue to provide help and support to those in need in communities around the country. Yesterday, they received approximately 525 calls and made approximately 200 follow-up calls to people who have contacted them. Nationally, since the 31st of March, the community call fora have received approximately 43,000 calls and have made over 17,300 follow-up calls. And remember, you can find your local community call helpline number on gov.ie, and you can also contact Alone on 0818 222 024 if you're experiencing difficulties or if you just want someone to talk to. In March, a call went out across Ireland for volunteers to support the community response to Covid-19. Since that day, almost 17,000 people have registered to volunteer through the iVol app. We would like to welcome and celebrate that fantastic level of support in local communities all around the country. Volunteers who sign up are directly linked by their volunteer centre to local organisations responding to Covid-19, and they play a very important role in essential work, from delivering food and medicines to people who are self-isolating, to working in test centres, as well as giving assistance to their families, friends and neighbours. The spirit of these volunteers has been a vital resource in our response to Covid-19 and is a great credit to our communities, and we are very grateful for this support. Sport participation. Throughout these weeks, people have been finding great ways to continue to look after their physical fitness in the absence of normal routines. We've all noticed more people out walking, running and cycling, and now research published this week by Sport Ireland has found that this is indeed the case. The research indicates that the number of adults participating in sport and recreational walking during Covid-19 restrictions is now at record levels, with 45% of adults participating in both types of activities compared to just 36% before Covid-19. The number of adults walking for recreation has increased by 18% since the restrictions were introduced, which is equivalent to over 3.1 million regular walkers, and this is the highest level ever recorded by Sport Ireland. This research has also shown that there are now more than 1.9 million regular participants in sporting activities, with more than half the adult population, 52%, engaging in sufficient levels of activity to meet the National Physical Activity Guidelines. There have not been too many positives in this experience, but perhaps some of us have discovered the physical and mental benefits of exercise and will have formed new and lasting habits. Town and village renewal. Yesterday, the Department of Rural Community Development announced that 15 million would be allocated to the Town and Village Renewal Scheme. This scheme provides funding for projects that support rural communities to be more attractive and sustainable. And this year, the scheme will be directed to support projects that will assist the economic and social recovery of towns and villages in response to Covid-19. Towns and villages across Ireland will have an important role to play as community and economic hubs as Covid-19 restrictions are eased in line with the Government's roadmap. This scheme will also be providing funding for a broad range of strategic proposals which will assist in that effort. A new measure will accelerate, support and help towns and villages to adapt to the public health requirements. This includes a simplified application and approval process to help smaller projects which are part of a Covid response to be approved and delivered quickly. This measure will be delivered through local authorities, but it is expected that project proposals will be developed in conjunction with local business and community groups in each town and village. The measure is open and flexible to facilitate the funding of good ideas that emerge locally, and every town and village is different, and solutions need to be developed in a way that reflects those differences. National Archives. The National Archives has received a large increase in traffic to its website over the last number of weeks, with the census site in particular experiencing a 54% increase in visitors. So it's just a reminder that this website presents a huge opportunity for people to spend time researching family history and genealogy, as well as learning about Irish history when other activities are not open to them due to restrictions. Whether you're interested in finding your ancestors through the 1901 or 1911 census, reading the original Anglo-Irish Treaty in 1921 and other digitised documents from that time, showing the children the Titanic under construction, or exploring original documents from the proceedings of the First Dáil in 1919, the National Archives is a treasure trove waiting to be explored, with many resources that tell the story of the Irish state since its foundation. If you go to gov.ie, you can get more details on how to access the archive. Children and education. I wanted to take the opportunity to issue a very important reminder to students and families across the country today. The Leaving Certificate 2020 Calculated Grades student portal will close at 10 p.m. tonight. All Leaving Cert students wishing to be evaluated through the Calculated Grades need to complete the registration process on this portal before that time. and we're advising you not to leave registration until the last minute and to register as soon as possible. To register, students need their examination number, their personal public service number, a mobile phone number and their email address. And if anyone is having difficulty with any aspect of registering, they can contact their school or the help desk on 1800 11 1135. And full information on all of this is available at gov.ie/leavingcert. All students following the Leaving Certificate Established or Leaving Certificate vocational programmes are also required to confirm the level at which they intend to sit each of the subjects, and students will have the option of confirming the level or changing to a lower level. Over 56,000 students have registered so far, but there are several thousand students who have still not registered. So if you know a Leaving Certificate or Leaving Certificate applied student, please encourage them to register before 10 p.m. tonight at gov.ie/leavingcertificate. Passenger locator form. In relation to travel, I want to begin by clarifying that the current public health advice to Irish citizens and residents is to avoid all non-essential international travel. Currently, passengers arriving in Ireland from overseas are asked to self-isolate for 14 days. As of today, it is obligatory for passengers arriving from abroad to complete a Covid-19 public health passenger locator form, which will capture contact details and details of where the passenger intends to self-isolate. The form will be used to facilitate a system of follow-up checks to make sure that people who travel to the country are staying where they said they would, and will also be critical in terms of tracing. Certified international transport workers, air and maritime pilot, masters and crew will not have to complete the form. So, compliance. The Gardaí this week are continuing to report that compliance with restrictions is high in communities. People have been responsible in how they've adapted to phase 1 of the roadmap and continue to respect the public health guidance. Since April 8th, new COVID policing regulations have had to be invoked 263 times out of over 1 million interactions. And Garda Síochána have noted that there continues to be very good cooperation by the public with the Gardaí in their role of keeping people safe. It's vital as we move into the bank holiday weekend that we continue the good work. With the fine weather, now more than ever, we want to go back to our traditional bank holiday activities. But we need to remember that we're still in the very early days of reopening. We're asking you to keep the public health advice in mind, whatever your plans. We still need to be cautious, and we need to prioritise our health and the health of our loved ones. We need to protect our communities from the spread of COVID-19. International language students. This week saw the announcement of measures to assist international students studying English in Ireland who have been impacted by the pandemic. Due to COVID-19, many students left Ireland to return home before the completion of their studies. These students will be allowed to return to Ireland and resume their studies, and their absence will not count towards the maximum 2-year period permitted for English language study. In addition, many language students with current valid permissions remain in Ireland, unable to go home due to COVID-19. Those individuals will be permitted to remain past the 2-year maximum period until the end of the year, provided they re-enrol in an online course of study for the remainder of the year. COVID-19 has impacted everyone in Ireland, including immigrant communities and our international student population, and it is hoped that these measures will offer some assurance and certainty over the coming months. As we approach the long weekend, we know that everyone will want to get outside, keep active and enjoy the beautiful weather. That is an important part of looking after our well-being. But as I've said, it's important that we remember we must stick to the public health guidelines, observe the 2-metre social distancing and to keep within our 5-kilometre limit. And that includes visits to beaches, lakes and other such amenities. Please also ensure that you follow advice from the Water Safety Ireland, who are warning of the danger of cold water for swimmers, and also to be aware that lifeguards are not currently in place. For more on water safety, please go to gov.ie. I've also been asked to reiterate the concerns around road safety at the moment. Yesterday, An Garda Síochána and the Road Safety Authority renewed their appeal for road users to take extra care when using roads, as provisional collision figures for 2020 show that there has been a 17% increase in the number of fatal crashes and a 9% increase in road deaths compared to last year. 60 people have been killed in 56 fatal collisions up to the 27th of May 2020, compared to 55 deaths in 48 fatal collisions up to the 27th of May 2019. So please bear this in mind if you need to take a journey on our roads this weekend. Slow down and be very mindful of pedestrians and cyclists. And finally, I want to give a last reminder that Bloom at Home will take place this Sunday, May 31st. And RTE, in partnership with Bord Bia, will run a competition to encourage people to share images and videos of their gardens and plants on social media. To take part, simply share your image or video with the hashtag #BloomWithRTE on Facebook, Instagram or Twitter on the day. Thank you.